Hello and welcome to the Hispanic Patriot Podcast, a weekly podcast broadcast live from a secret, undisclosed location here in the heart of the great state of Colorado. My name is Nicholas Rosso, and without further ado, I present to you all our fearless patron, Hugo Chavez. Hey, give it up for the Hispanic Patriots.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Hispanic Patriot. I can't believe we've been doing this for 3+ years. God bless America.
God bless America.
All right. So we've got a great show for you tonight. Tonight, we have Leticia James indicted, Hakeem Jeffries melting down in the halls of Congress, shutdown cracks, Dems caving, ballots dropping tomorrow in Colorado, Victor Marx phenomenon. You'll want to hear about that. And then we have some funny memes and the word of the day. So
fantastic.
Stay tuned and call your friends, call your neighbors, call your family.
Yes, let them know the Hispanic Patriot Podcast is live.
Like and subscribe, folks. That's what helps us get our show growing.
Yes.
Every time you hit the like button, it helps 10 to 20 more people see the show and help us grow. So
absolutely. Think about it like a horse race that if you bet more money on, the horse goes faster.
Absolutely. All right, so we begin today with big news out of Virginia, as a matter of fact. Everybody knows who Leticia James was. She is the state attorney general in New York, the one who went after President Trump with both barrels. And I said when it was happening, I said, the day will come when she gets indicted. And lo and behold, we have news of an indictment of Leticia James. How great is that?
Hey, you get what you give.
Yep. Let's take a look at that.
I do want to discuss some breaking news right now as we are learning here into our newsroom that a grand jury has indicted New York Attorney General Leticia James on potential around alleged fraud, indicted on fraud charge in the latest case against a Trump foe. This according to an Associated Press source. The contents of the indictment still not unsealed as of Thursday afternoon. James has been under investigation since May over a 2023 mortgage she took out to help a niece buy a home in Norfolk, Virginia. Of course, this also coming in the same district, the Eastern District of Virginia, that we saw earlier within the last several weeks. James Comey get indicted as the U.S. Attorney there, Lindsay Halligan. She is now in that position after under pressure by Trump to bring charges against Comey and James. Eric Seibert resigned, was replaced by the U.S. Attorney, a former personal attorney to Trump, Lindsay Halligan. So the charges obviously come as Trump continues to be prosecuted in court. Former FBI Director James Comey pleaded not guilty on Wednesday to allegedly making a false statement in a congressional proceeding. The Justice Department also opened investigation into former Trump National Security.
Too bad, Comey, you're on tape.
Democrat Adam Schiff and others. Of course, Leticia James, the relationship between her and Trump has been adversarial for years as James campaigned on promises to investigate Trump and ultimately won a civil fraud case against Trump, his adult sons, and his real estate business. The judge found them liable for fraud for inflating the value of their properties and ordered Trump to pay $355 million in penalties. Trump has appealed that case. So some big news here. New York Attorney General Leticia James indicted on a fraud charge by a grand jury there in Virginia. So obviously big breaking news that we're following here on Live Now from Fox, and the second such indictment in as many weeks there in this district in Eastern Virginia.
Maybe my mom.
There you go. All right. So, you know, the old saying, what goes around comes around. And Miss Leticia James, the pillar of virtue, who said Trump was a crook and a criminal and cost people money. And by the way, it didn't cost anybody money. Every bank that she brought up that they wouldn't allow testimony from said they want to do more business with him. He made them money.
You know, and it's funny that the Republicans get punished for making money and the Democrats are punished for taking money finally now. You know, Hugo, I'd like to ask you a question, actually. What do you think of the accusation that Trump is an evil dictator using lawfare against his opponents. What do you think about that accusation?
Well, actually, it's kind of funny. I mean, ironic, actually. They think that they're the only ones that can pursue justice, so to speak. The big difference that I would say is that everything they threw at Trump was phony.
It
And
is.
all these indictments and charges that are coming out now against Comey and now Leticia James, they're factual. So, they're not going to be able to sweep it under the rug, although we know the left wing media will certainly be in their camp, and that's all they're going to hear.
The
We're going to hear
increasingly
from,
irrelevant left-wing media, we should say.
yeah, that's all we're going to hear from him is, oh, Trump is just going after his enemies and doing what he said shouldn't be done to him, except they ignore the fact that these are actual real charges, whereas his were all trumped up, as we say.
Perfect word for it, honestly, because I think there's been kind of a gentleman's agreement in the past for politicians not to prosecute each other for probably, around the same time as the founding of the country, really. There's always been a desire to work things out at that level. We're not at that world. We haven't been at that world since Obama.
Okay,
I mean, really.
What we ignore when we say that, and I don't like that.
Really.
I don't think that politicians or anybody in power should be any different than you or me,
I
the
couldn't agree more.
the average citizen. The law should be the same for everyone, regardless of your
Exactly.
economic status or political status or whatever.
Exactly. The
Equal
gentleman's
justice
agreement's got to go.
equal justice under the law has been the mantra of the United States of America, and that's why they say that Lady Justice is blind or
Hmm.
supposed to be blind. And yet, we have seen over the last 10 to 20 years a proliferation of anti conservative litigation taking place, rogue judges, corrupt judges, if you will, in some cases.
Downright rotten
Uh,
often.
and, and so now they're getting their comeuppance and they're all up in arms, and the media is going to cry foul, but that's okay. They can cry foul all they want. It is what it is.
It
And
is what we do.
yep, you see, this is what it says. I podcast. That's what I do, and I know things.
And the things we know is that we have never liked this gentleman's agreement. We have never liked this treatment of people under the law as if their wealth and power protected them from the crimes they commit. That was never what America was all about, and it encourages a virtuous citizenship.
And there's a laundry list of people that are yet to face justice. We can start naming them all. We've
Oh
got
yeah.
Adam Schiff. We've got uh, Swalwell out of California. We got
Oh yeah, the spy messer
Maxine
around with.
Waters. We got Nancy Pelosi, who makes $178,000 a year, but has a net worth of nearly $200 million. Explain that to me, okay? She must be the best investor in history.
Well, when you have insider information you're not legally allowed to have, it's helpful with the market. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wish I had that. I mean,
Same here, but not really, because it's
no,
bad for your soul.
I wouldn't do it. It's people have a conscience. People know what's right and wrong, and you shouldn't profit like that. But yet, we've got a government that has been, proliferated with all these crooks, which they are crooks. And it's just another reason to argue about term limits too. So that's a different topic, and we'll get into
But
that.
it reminds me of what a good friend of mine says, is that we cannot be bought because our price is too high. The price that we have can't be bought on Earth. Boy, so
Absolutely.
shout out to Brad. You know who you
Yep.
are.
All right, our next story is a really kind of humorous one, but at the same time, it exposes the House Minority Leader, Mr. Hakeem Jeffries, as the fool that he
Oh,
really is.
Hefe Jeffries himself.
Now, check it out. This is something else.
1-year extension. Why
Yeah,
don't we sign on right
Let me
now?
ask you a question. Did you
Why don't we sign on
get
right
permission
now?
from your boss?
Why don't we sign on right now?
Did your boss, Donald Trump?
You can easily extend
Did
the
your boss,
ACA
did your
right
boss
now.
Donald Trump
He's
give
not
you
my
permission?
boss.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not. And by the way,
So let me ask you a
why
question.
did you vote to
Let me
shut
ask
the
you a
government
question.
down?
You
Why
know
did you
I-
vote to shut
Let
it
me
down?
ask you a question.
For years, you
Well,
always lectured about how we need to
you're
keep the
making
government open.
You're making a show of this to
No,
make
it's
yourself
sad.
relevant.
It's sad. You could
It's
easily
embar-
sign on to
You're
this.
embarrassing
You
yourself
could
right
sign
now.
on to this. The only
You're
embarrassment
chasing
here is
clout.
you.
You're an
You
embarrassment.
could sign on to the bill.
Let me ask you a question.
You have 4 Democrats on here.
Let me
Why
ask you a
won't you
question.
sign on
Let me ask
to
you a
it?
question.
It's a
Let
clean
me ask
extension
you a
for 1
question.
year.
You voted for the one big
Clean
ugly bill,
extension.
correct?
I almost want to yell, "You can't handle the truth."
I voted for a
The
tax cut
largest-
bill that gave
the
the largest tax
largest
cut
the
to
largest-
Americans in history,
the
including, by
largest-
the way, the average New Yorker getting a $4,000 tax cut. Are you against that?
You're embarrassing
Do you
yourself
want
right
to
now.
cut the standard deduction in
The
half? Is that
largest
what you
cut
wanted
to
to do?
Medicaid in
No, we
American
voted
history.
out
You
waste,
voted for that.
fraud, and abuse, by the
You
way.
voted
Tom DiNapoli, the
for a
Democratic
permanent-
controller of New
Let
York,
me ask you a question.
pointed out that $1.2
If
billion
you're
were
gonna-
wasted.
Listen, you're not gonna
wasted.
talk.
wasted,
You're not gonna talk to
wasted.
me.
Oh, my
You're not gonna
God.
Talk to me
Fraud.
and talk
Right
about
about
me
then-
because you
Right about then, I would have grabbed his finger and snapped it.
don't want to hear what I have to say.
Oh, I'm
So
listening.
why don't
Go
you
ahead.
just keep your mouth shut?
Oh,
because
yeah.
you
Is
showed
that-
up.
is that the way to
you
talk?
showed up. You showed up.
Yeah.
And so you voted for this one
I
big
signed
ugly
on
bill.
for this. You can extend it
A
right now.
permanent
You should have asked him where his sombrero is.
extension of massive tax breaks for your billionaire
So
donors.
90% of
So
Americans.
they can get a permanent extension.
90% of
but
Americans
working
take the
class
standard
Americans
deduction.
can't? Is that right?
90% of Americans take the standard deduction.
Is that
right?
right?
If you had your way, the standard
Is
deduction
that
would have
right?
been half. That
No
would have been a
one-
massive tax increase
no
on
one-
Americans all across the country.
You're
You support
here,
that?
unfortunately.
You're against
to do
lifting the
the
cap on
bidding
salt?
Of your billionaire
You're,
donors.
the
That's
billionaire
unfortunate.
donors lifting the
That's
cap on
correct.
salt. We put a income cap in place.
Why are you here right now?
An
Where
income
the
cap.
re- where the
Well,
rest
didn't
of
you
your
want all
Republican
Republicans
colleagues?
to be here?
Where
I'm
the rest,
here.
Where are the rest of your Republican
You wanted
colleagues?
Republicans to be here. I'm here.
Why are you
And by
here?
the way,
Why-
you can
What?
pass an ACA extension right now. Sign
your
on to this
boss-
bill.
did your boss
Sign
Donald
on
Trump-
to the bill.
Is your boss Donald Trump behind it?
Oh,
HR
right, that's it.
5145. Why don't you get on
Boss.
it?
Is your boss Donald Trump behind that?
Why won't you get on
Because
it?
you don't work for the American people.
Oh, I do. I work
don't
for
work for
the
the
people of
people
New
of the
York.
17th
I work for the
district.
people of my district.
Is that why you? Is that
I'm
why,
here.
I would have answered, my boss is the president of the United States. Yours is a communist donor, George Soros.
You got 145.
And by the way, I voted
people
for
on
a
Medicaid.
clean CR to keep the government open and
Mike,
funded.
you're-
You voted to shut it
You're
down.
embarrassing yourself right now.
Yeah, leader, with all due
As we
respect,
would say
you're
back
the
in the-
one,
why you playing yourself?
you're the one
Why you
who
playing
actually
yourself with
voted
these
to shut
theatrics?
the government down.
Actually, you
It's
know
sad.
that's not true.
It's sad. You voted to shut the government
Listen,
down.
Do Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the President?
Right, and
correct?
you're smart enough to know
Is
that
that
you
right?
need 60 votes in the Senate,
Is
right?
that right? No.
Do you need 60 votes?
Hey,
Yes,
no,
you
no,
said.
no, go
We
before.
needed to pass the one big ugly bill.
Reconciliation, which you
Was
did with
six-
the IRA,
was
and
60
boy, that really reduced inflation.
Are you
You did a
trying to
great job
elevate
there.
yourself because you're afraid
I'm not
you're
trying
about
to
lose
elevate myself.
re-election?
No, I'm not going to lose
me ask you a
re-election.
question.
You spent $42 million last cycle. You didn't do that great.
Why aren't you running for governor right now?
Because I actually enjoy this job, and I'm here to do
You
it. And
enjoy-
by the way,
you
and by the
enjoy-
way,
you
you could
enjoy
actually
embarrassing
pass.
yourself?
You could actually
You
pass
enjoy being a
a
lackey for
subsidy
Donald
right
Trump?
now
Is that
to
right?
ensure that people don't have health care premiums going up. Why won't you support this one-year
Let
bill?
me ask you a question.
Tom Swazi's on it. Jared Golden.
Let me ask you a question.
Marie
Let me ask you a
Glusenkamp
question.
Perez.
Let me ask
Are
you a
they
question.
wrong?
There's plenty of
Your other
questions.
boss-
Are they wrong?
Your other boss, Mike Johnson, I challenged him to a debate
Yeah.
on the floor. Did he send you?
No, I'm here
On
on
his
my
behalf,
behalf
'cause
of
he's
my
afraid to
constituents,
debate. Is
because
that
you
right?
shut the government down. And my constituents are suffering as a result of your ridiculous ploy,
If
because
you-
you're so afraid of Zohran Mandami. By the way, when are you endorsing him?
By the way,
Do you endorse him for mayor?
Listen,
Are you going to endorse him for mayor?
listen, you're a complete and total embarrassment right now.
Oh,
I
why
mean,
is that? Because you don't want to answer the
Is
question?
this supposed to be a video for your failed
You don't want
re-election?
to.
Is
You
that
don't.
what's
You
going
don't
on
want to
right
answer
now?
the question. Do you support Zohran? By the way, did you see his
Listen.
statement yesterday?
Listen.
An embarrassment on October 7th, blaming the Jews. You support that?
Are-
Should he be the
Listen,
Democratic
first of all-
nominee for mayor?
First of all, I don't answer to you. You
Should
don't
he be
even
the Democratic
answer to
mayor?
yourself.
Should he be the
You don't
Democratic
even-
nominee?
I'll
Mr.
answer-
Hakeem, do you hate Jews?
You think his statement
About the
yesterday was okay?
First of all,
Alright. That's sad. It's unfortunate.
don't come with this phony
These are bills.
bill. No.
These
no,
are
no.
bills. They're not phony.
It's
They're
not
real
a bill
bills.
that Republicans are even prepared to bring
There's
to the floor.
There's 11 Republicans on it. There's 4 Democrats. It's a bipartisan bill to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies.
Do you-
If you believe in
Bro,
it so
do you
so
understand
much,
math?
why won't
Bro.
you? Why won't you sign on
Do you
to it?
understand math?
You could get your whole conference to
You
sign
have
on
two-
today.
220.
Your whole conference could sign on to
There
this.
are 220 Republicans
right?
in the House right now.
You have
You come to a
215
bill with me
Democrats.
with 11?
You have 215
Is that right?
Democrats. Well, how many votes does it take in the House?
Are you-
218.
Are you mathematically challenged, bro?
No, I think you are. You have 215 Democrats. You could all sign on to this today
Do me a
with
favor.
11 Republicans.
Do
It'd
me
be
a
great.
favor.
It'd be
I've
great.
indulged you. I've given you your 15
You
minutes
haven't
of
you haven't
fame.
answered any of the questions.
You're a
but sure.
complete and total embarrassment.
Yeah.
You're embarrassing yourself in your district right now, and you're going down to defeat
Oh, I
next
know.
year.
Wow.
Oh my God.
You know, Hugo, I've never seen a man be so angry after being depicted as a Mexican. I mean, he has just never been the same. Ever since the Trump mariachi band had graced Hakeem Jeffries, he just has not been the same.
So young, so angry. Damn that rap music.
Oh my goodness. Well, do you want to take the start on that, Hugo, of what we just witnessed
Oh my God.
with our poor eyeballs?
That's what I said. It's a total beatdown of Mr. Hakeem Kami Jeffries, melting down. He wouldn't answer any questions and basically accusing this guy of working for Donald Trump when in fact he's a representative of his constituents in New York that sent him there. And he put out some good points. Are you against reducing, or are you against increasing the the deduction?
And the salt. Ooh.
Yeah, in under Hakeem, they would have cut the individual deduction for federal income tax in half, which would have meant an average of $4,000 extra taxes per year for the average working American. But they're always for the little people, right? Yeah. No.
Well, as soon as you hear it, please.
No, I was going to say they always accuse Republicans of being, supportive of billionaires when in fact it's them who get more money from billionaires than Republicans, if the truth be known.
And if you look at just the provable amount of donor funds out there, this is actually a factual statement. You could look it up very easily. There's nothing you will ever be more certain of when a Democrat talks about you supporting billionaires, that they are probably doing the bidding of a Democrat billionaire when they are accusing you of that. That's precisely what's going on every single time.
They're excellent at projecting.
Yes.
Anything they accuse the Republicans of doing is exactly what they're doing.
But they're not very good at projecting strength. That's the one thing they're not good at projecting. But everything else, yes.
But that's what they do. But along that same line, we can move over to our next subject, which would be that the shutdown is now in day number 8, and from what I'm seeing on the news, it's up to 3 top Democrats now, senators, that have broken ranks with their party in an effort to shatter the shutdown gridlock. So that's encouraging. It means that Republicans are winning the issue, because even though the Democrats want to blame us for the shutdown, it's actually their fault. They claim, well, you're in power, but what they don't say is, but it takes 60 votes in the Senate to get passed on any type of bill like this. So they have, we've got basically 53 Republicans in the Senate, and I discount 2 of those, Murkowski and the lady from Maine. I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but those 2 are what I would really consider rhinos. They basically vote with Democrats more than they do with Republicans. So I'm not counting them. So these 3 Democrats basically have come out and said that the shutdown has gone on long enough. It's a wall of unanimous opposition beginning to crumble this week, when 3 Democrats in the U.S. Senate broke with their party to support a Republican-backed plan to reopen the federal government. the shutdown, now in its seventh day, this was yesterday, actually 2 days ago, but is approaching the first missed paychecks of the federal workforce, increasing pressure on both parties to reach a solution before tens or hundreds of thousands are furloughed. Employees can no longer pay their bills. Well, guess what? Most of those people are what I would call embedded bureaucrats. So, hey, you reap what you sow. The Senate Minority Leader, Chucky Schumer from New York, urged his colleagues to fight for Obamacare subsidies that Republicans are seeking to debate in a standalone package. The gridlock has prevented Republican Majority Leader John Thune from securing the 60 votes needed to pass a short-term government funding bill, but signs of concession emerged on Tuesday with news that Senators John Fetterman, Democrat of Pennsylvania,
John Fetterman, of all people.
yep, Catherine Cortez Masto, Democrat of Nevada, and Angus King, Independent from Maine, signed on to Republicans' plan for a clean spending plan. And multiple rounds of voting have resulted in a 55-45 finish. So that puts the effort still 5 votes shy of the goal needed. So, Fetterman has totally shocked me, I guess, but the guy, has really been kind of solid in his arguments, and he's not falling for his leadership's nonsense. He thinks that they should be passing these bills. They should reopen the government and get back to business. So that's what's going on the shutdown. So we've got what do you call? We've got a stalemate still, so to speak. I mean, we're 3 votes closer, but it's going to continue.
Still
But
5 votes away at the case, and that's a huge thing. But go right ahead, please.
I was going to say, to me, when the government shuts down, nobody at Congress should get paid, and they should be back pay when it finally reopens, because that's the only way that they're going to feel the pain that certain Americans will feel that are actually involved in being affected by the shutdown. But I mean, again, I want to.
Well, I would say so long as only Democrats don't receive their pay, because they are the only ones refusing to sign on to this budget, that they actually have funding for a lot of programs they like, but not for illegal immigrants. Funny how that's the place they draw the line at.
Yeah, and Maxine Waters put her foot in it when she said, "We want health care for everyone." And the reporter goes, "So you want health care for illegal immigrants?" "We want health care for everyone."
Basically, yes, is what she was more or less at. But, I want to give an encouraging message to our viewers regarding the government shutdown, because if we are already seeing a trickle of Democrats trying to reopen the government, then I genuinely believe that it's only a matter of time until they find 5 other ones who are willing to make the switch. Because I think a lot of these people are genuinely concerned about their reelection. And that is something that is coming up next year for many of these people.
Yeah, the midterms are right around the corner. They'll be here before we know it. I believe that the sensible ones will definitely, flow in that direction. And I just hope that they're going to be picking them off one at a time till we get to the 60. The Republicans should stand their ground 100%. Do not cave to any of this nonsense about, well, we're taking Medicaid away. We're taking this. Okay, last week we talked about this. We said the president has assured that Medicare recipients, of which I am, Medicaid recipients who are U.S. citizens, and basically everybody that's an American citizen has nothing to be concerned about. Their checks are going to continue to come, and it's just a matter of waiting, playing this game with these people, which I hate to call it a game, but it's political theater when
It's
it comes
exactly what it
to
is.
when it comes to the Democrats. They think they can bully their way around and then try to paint the Republicans as the bad guys, and it's not working. The polls are showing that it's not working. The people know that it's the Democrats that are responsible for this shutdown. And what's really interesting that came out a couple days ago, there was a story about how this shutdown, engineered by the Democrats, is actually going to backfire on them because it's going to allow the president to basically clean house in a lot of federal agencies. So a lot of
Absolutely.
these people that are furloughed, guess what? They're not coming back.
They will not be coming back, as it turns out. And I think that's really what we have to think about with the Republican side of this government shutdown. Because we know it's the Democrats trying to obstruct and obscure the facts and do as they do. But on the Republican side, what we're trying to do, what the Republicans are trying to do, is starve the illegal immigrants that we had. Not, I won't say immigrants, but really illegal job stealers. That's the specific illegal immigrants I'm talking about. To starve them of income so that they have to return to their countries of origin, because frankly, we just don't have the money to support populations that we have no way to account for. And I think that's honestly fair. So between that and the starvation of the federal government's bloat, I think that this is a good strategy for Republicans to stand their ground. There's no reason to give any.
Yeah, it's to me, it's always been insane that anybody could stand up and with a straight face say that we, the taxpayers of the United States of America, should be digging into our pocketbooks to support and fund these people who came here illegally. Okay, uh, if they can't make it here, and they shouldn't be here, if they can't make it, you know, because the government is not going to subsidize them, and it shouldn't, then they need to get on the next plane and go home. Um, and the president has already given more than enough opportunity for people to self-deport. The numbers I've heard are upwards of 2 million people who have self-deported based on the parameters that the government gave.
Wow, isn't that amazing? I mean, that's got to be all over the country. I would think
Yeah.
we could ask our viewers if you have noticed a substantial difference in any of your cities or any places you think that these illegal immigrants might have been self-deporting from. Let us know in the comments if you've seen any differences in the past
Yeah.
months and so.
And, but the smart ones saw the handwriting on the wall. And
Yeah.
what President Trump said is if you go home of your own volition, and they offered him, I forget how much money
Yeah.
to go. Was it 2,500 or
Yeah, about.
so?
It wasn't nothing, but it wasn't. It was pretty decent. It was about what you would need to get back home.
Yeah, he wanted them to get back home, but what he told them was, look, go back to your homeland, apply to enter the country properly, and we will welcome you with open arms, provided you're not a criminal and MS-13 gang member or Tren de Aragua and all these other fools that think that they're going to take over this country. Well, they got another thing coming. They don't know about the patriots in this country, and
Absolutely.
they're just lurking around the corner. But I think ICE is doing a good job, and now the troops. I don't know if you saw what's going on in Chicago and Portland. They're cleaning house, and the mayor of Chicago is on the verge of getting arrested. Um,
Man, I
so,
would love to see that. I wanted to
oh
see that the past 3 mayors.
yeah, lock them up. But
Well, actually, you know, Hugo, that the man who was the Illinois corruptor in chief, Mike Madigan, actually has received justice and jail time.
oh,
Yes,
okay.
indeed.
I don't know the name. I mean, I hearken back to
Oh, yeah.
the days of Mayor Daley when the Daley machine ran Chicago, and it was
For
just
all of
corrupt.
us in our generation, it was the Mike Madigan machine, and his daughter was also part of it as well. So, all of my Chicago folks out there, perhaps liberation is at hand.
Yep. So And interesting along those lines, there was a poll that I saw today.
There's a lot of polls in Chicago.
Well, this is a poll nationwide, and there's a poll that came out that said that it shows that Democrats are so deep in the hole that this coming election they stand to lose several blue states. And guess what? Which one was in that list? Our own state of
There you
Colorado.
go, folks.
That they are predicting that Colorado is in play for next year, and that if we don't blow it as Republicans, we could literally take the Republican, we could take the governor's house with a Republican. So,
And not just the governor's house, but potentially statewide races,
definitely
Senate
statewide.
seats, House seats, congressional seats.
Yep.
Who knows?
Yeah, they were saying that the virtual nominee, who is predicted to be Bennett, has very little support, and his grade record, and even among Democrats, is poor. So that's what they're saying is opening the door for Republicans to take some statewide offices and even gain seats in the legislature. So
Absolutely.
we need to work our butts off to make sure that happens, folks. Speaking of that, tomorrow the ballots drop here in Colorado. We have several items on the agenda. In Denver, we have what's known as the vibrant bond issue, which is basically another money grab. And the polling is indicating that it is failing. People have zero appetite for any increase in spending and or taxes. So I'm predicting that it's going to fail. And that's going to be
Absolutely.
devastating to the Democrats because, the mayor here has taken so much money from our coffers that and given it to illegal immigrants that they have a $350 million deficit. He's furloughed people. He's cut back services that we, the citizens, pay for. And, it just boils my blood to even talk about it. But
Absolutely.
yeah, there was a meeting Tuesday night here in Denver. And one of our representatives from Denver actually went to the meeting and was able to listen in, and he actually got to speak some as well. So it's a big deal here in Denver, and there's other referendums statewide and also in other districts. So it's just a matter of making sure that we pay attention and we get the right people out to vote and get the vote out.
Absolutely. And if I might make a little shameless plug, if that's okay, Hugo, for some of my friends who have been working their butts off for the D11 school board candidates, Jeremiah Johnson, Bruce Cole, and Michelle Rule. Awesome people. They are actually probably the most qualified school board candidates I've ever seen. Pentagon strategist, executive officer in the Air Force, and 20 years of teaching experience from Bruce Cole. So beautiful people, wonderful people. So if you're in Colorado Springs and the D11 school board, I urge you to cast your vote for these fine folks.
Yep, and here in Denver, in D4, we have a young black conservative who also happens to be a mortician.
How about that?
Running for that school board seat, and he's polling well. So we want to encourage those in the Denver area. If you're in that district, get out and help him knock on some doors and finish this campaign off and get that one seat at least in the Denver Public Schools Board.
Oh, we need that. We need that 100%. And that reminds me of a fellow Hispanic Patriot, which I'd love to have on the show, actually. Luis Ybarra, who is also running for the 3rd school board district. So we've met him a number of times, and a lot of young black and Hispanic men rising up in the Republican Party. What a strange thing for a party of racists.
Yep. All right. So we're talking local politics now, Colorado and all, and we're going to now jump over to the Victor Marx phenomenon, and we're just getting started on this. We want to dig deeper and deeper into this, what some people are calling organic campaign. I don't call it organic at all. I believe it's manufactured, but that's my opinion. Okay, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I've
Yes,
been
especially when they've
digging.
had 40 years of an opinion. That's especially so.
Exactly. So I've been digging into different aspects of the Marx campaign. And, one of the things that I notice on social media in particular is the fact that most of the people that support him on there appear to be bots on the social media threads. And how do I know that? Well, when you look at some of these people who are supporting him, I've never heard of them. They came out of nowhere. Some of them are even out of state, but a lot of them that I've seen are part of this Republican group that has a Facebook page. And in that page, when you scroll down on the profile of the individual, it says that individual has 0 posts on that Republican page. So if they're these involved and engaged activists, how do they have 0 posts on the Republican page that they claim to be a member of?
And they
That's
can't
one.
all be lurkers, you know?
No, that's number one. Today, a friend sent me something that I found very interesting. Mr. Marx is, of course, a founder and I guess one of the leaders in this organization called All Things Possible Ministries, victormarx.com. And what this shows, and I'm going to share it with the audience, it's kind of, an expose, if you will, but, let the facts fall where they may. This is not my writing. This is basically a report of All Things Possible Ministries that describes itself as a faith based organization that works on a global scale to identify and restore victims of trauma from abuse and its damaging effects, to free people from their suffering and interrupt the cycle of abuse for future generations. Now, that's a great mission, okay? I
Yeah, yeah.
mean, anybody that's conservative and Christian would love to read that, right? So that's the mission of this ministry. Then you scroll down, and the mission basically gives toys to children, feminine hygiene products to women in refugee camps, money for surgery to children who have deformities, materials to U.S. military veterans suffering from PTSD, and operates a home in Cambodia for sexually abused women. All Things Possible Ministries was founded in 2005 by Victor Marx, a U.S. Marine and martial art expert. Okay, so the strength of this organization is Victor Marx has and promotes his personal story of surviving early childhood sexual abuse. Great. The weakness, and here's a glaring weakness: only 11.9% of the donations collected is spent on the programs mentioned above. Let that sink in for a minute. 11.9%. That is a failing charitable organization, and that's putting it mildly. Okay? I would never donate to an organization whose books showed 11.9% of the donations going to the actual mission. That's just ridiculous. So they collected $3.4 million in 2020, but spent only $412,000, 11.9% of it, on program expenses and donations. That is the money donated by All Things Possible Ministries to the recipients of its program. So where's the money going? Salaries to Americans, $717,000, representing 20%. Folks, when I judge a charitable organization, if they have more than 5% going to administrative costs, I don't donate to them because that tells me that they're only in it for the money. And this is probably the worst that I've ever seen from a charitable organization. Travel, $106,000. Advertising, $188,000. Office and occupancy, $142,000. Depreciation and amortization, $60,000. I don't have no idea what they own that depreciating and need to amortize. Banking fees, $53,000 in banking fees.
That's a lot of banking fees.
Are you kidding me? Who are they banking with? The Bank of China? Accounting and legal, $27,000. That seems kind of low. IT, $4,400.
Funny how the accounting is the only thing that's low.
Yeah. Other fees for services, in quotations, $278,000. Ancillary. Outside services, $107,000. Other non-program expenses, $148,000. Okay, come on, folks. Total non-program expenses, $1.8 million. Program expenses, meaning the recipients and the donations, $412,000. Unspent cash, $1.2 million. Okay, so that unspent cash is probably drawing interest somewhere. But come on, folks. More than 88.9% of the donations collected stay in the USA, and they're advertising that they do all this work around the world. Come on, man. So most of the photos in the All Things Possible Ministries annual report show foreigners in developing countries and give the impression that most of the donations collected are reaching them. Since the 11.9% is spent on program expenses and donations, above includes the money spent on materials for U.S. military veterans suffering from PTSD. The proportion of the collected donations that is spent outside the USA is even lower. 50% of the donations collected remain unaccounted. Who's doing their books? So it goes on to say that we'll have this up, for people that want to dig deeper into this. This is a factual report. This is not a smear campaign. We just want to know, the answer to some of these questions. Look at all these. All Things Possible Ministries was repeatedly emailed in 2022, including as below on December 26th. DearVictorMarx.com. Your website states that for a $100 donation, 2,000 people are reached with the gospel. A few questions, please. What exactly do you do to reach one person for just 5 cents? How many people did you reach with the gospel in 2021? What exactly is the gospel with which you are reaching them? Your 2020 IRS Form 990 lists expenditures of $278,357 for other fees for services, $107,879 for outside services, and $148,771 for other expenses. Were any of these expenditures received by your CEO or any entity associated with him or a member of his family? And if so, how much was received? So, and then it outlines what exactly each one of those expenses is supposed to be, and what was done with the 1.2 million of the donations unspent in 2020. How much money did your CEO receive in 2020 for teaching martial arts, teaching weapons training, and making speeches as he promotes his IamVictorMarx.com? And on average, how many hours per week did he engage in these activities? Why does your annual report have no financial information? Why does your website have no link to your annual report? So, folks, we say this to say this, okay? Don't fall for the shiny coin, all right? Don't take our word for it. Don't even take this report's word word for it. Go out, do your own due diligence if you are in fact, or if you in fact consider yourself a supporter. And shame on you if you're not doing your due diligence and you're just out there, shouting to the rooftops that you're just a big supporter and we need him for governor and that he's so much better than every other candidate out there. No, you're going to have to
Yes.
prove it to me, folks. Look, uh, the guy may be a great guy. I have nothing personal to say about him. I don't know enough to say about him on that level. But this report here is disturbing at the very least. Okay. And then some people are going to jump up and say, well, that was 2020. Okay. Well, show us some more current books. If you're a charitable donation, you are duty bound to release your financial statements to anyone who is a donor. When I get solicited to be a donor, the first thing I do is I send an email and say, please submit to me your financial reports for the previous year. I want to see the audited financial reports so I can decide if this is a good cause for me to donate, even if it's a small donation, $25, $50, $100. I mean, as a donor, I have the right to know where the money's going. And by law, they have to provide it. If
And
they're
also,
hiding it,
there's nothing that could actually, from year to year, be better if a financial statement of one year compared to another is like this. There should be no reason for this because honestly, charity and the Christian works is meant to be sacrificial, extremely sacrificial. So there should be no possibility of these sorts of things being a part of your legitimate charity if you are actually trying to sacrifice in the Christian way. It should be painful for you. And I'm going to be honest, my immediate impression about Victor Marx, I don't see him going through a lot of pain or struggle or anything with what he does. It kind of seems like a show. It feels like a show to me. It feels like someone who's an actor in a movie doing this kind of thing. And while that kind of is something that people in politics adopt, it's not something that can govern. Because I have a question about Victor Marx in general. I don't see what any of the amazing, wonderful, awesome, if he has done all these things, if they're amazing, wonderful, awesome, fine. I don't see how they translate to the business of governance. That's another thing that deeply confuses me. Oh, everyone should just drop out because Victor's so awesome. I don't think that's been proven in any capacity, especially since he has openly said that he is developing a plan for his future governorship in his mind. And usually you want to have a plan and a vision like a long time before you run for governor, not in the middle of it.
that's kind of putting the cart before the horse. If you're going to be a strong and committed candidate, before you announce, your game plan should already be ready so that when you roll out your campaign announcement, you can say, here I am. My name is Victor Marx. I'm running for governor, and here is what I will do.
Yeah.
That's the way I see a good
That's
candidate.
why everybody else has been doing it. Like,
it is. I don't know of any other candidate, even the ones that are kind of ancillary, that didn't come out at least with some sort of game plan. Now, there's some common things that everybody says. We want to lower taxes, eliminate regulations,
yeah, Republican
stop the waste,
platform stuff.
stop the waste, fraud, and abuse. But you got to tell us how you're going to do it. Number one, and you have to tell us what qualifies you to do that. Okay, being a minister, or part of a ministry, is commendable, and if you do good works, the Lord is going to bless you.
And we've supported people like that. And for example, we've had our town hall with Scott Bottoms at his church. Yeah. And he, as it turns out, is not just a pastor. He is also a representative with, frankly, amazing voting record. And there's something, Hugo, I wanted to bring up this point, but please, you bring up first, because I think you know what I'm going to say about what Victor has been saying about his relationship with Charlie Kirk and what I would like to say about that.
Yeah, and that's the other part that that people have been hanging their hat on, and they're using the Charlie Kirk tragedy and or relationship, if you will, to further this cause. And I believe they've been successful in co-opting people who have been supportive of Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA. And, you know, I don't know what's true or not true. Okay. But there are
Well,
some very,
I would please.
yes, I want you to explain because you've had that connection. So explain, talk about the part where they're saying that he's supposedly a mentor or was a mentor of Charlie Kirk and that he wrote a foreword for Charlie's book. And anybody, just so you want to clarify this, anybody that knows anything about writing books knows that you pay someone to write the foreword. That doesn't mean it's necessarily lies, but it doesn't mean that, he's
If
some.
it was a dedication, that would be different. Usually, you dedicate books to people that you're looking up to. The forward of a book is usually like a peer. It's someone who's like in your space and often paid. So I would be more than happy to be cavalier about this. As many of you know from my speech at UCCS and many other times where I was able to talk and had the honor to talk about my relationship with Charlie Kirk, you know that I knew him since I was 16 years old in high school. Because if you were politically involved in that district area in Chicago, you just knew Charlie Kirk and then a bunch of other people who also knew him. So Charlie basically stopped spending a lot of time back in Chicago around the end of the Bruce Rauner campaign. So, about the beginning of Trump time, 2015, 2016. And I can name Charlie's mentors because they were also mine. Robert Dole, Congressman Robert Dole, Senator Mark Kirk, Foster Freeze, Bill Montgomery, and several of our close adult friends who Charlie kept close contact with until his unfortunate demise. Unless Victor Marx was hanging out in the background in something that I never could see or whatever have you, or that he was doing things far before he kind of started his general persona, unless that was the case, I can say for certainty that Victor Marx was never a mentor of Charlie Kirk, because at the time Charlie Kirk was 22, 23 years old, he was a mentor to people older than him. So if anything, Victor was mentored by Charlie Kirk, not the other way around. And I feel very confident in saying that.
Yeah. And, again, we're not going to cast aspersions
No, not at all.
regarding that. It just sounds a little bit self-aggrandizing, if you will.
Yes.
And
Resume
using,
padding, as we say in my generation.
yeah, and using the tragedy of
Current
Charlie
thing.
Kirk and his family. Um, I haven't seen Erica come out and show some sort of support for the
Which we'd
guy.
absolutely see if this was a real relationship, because that's the kind of attitude Turning Point has towards things.
Yeah. So people that are.
Proactive.
So I'm just going to caution people that are out there singing this guy's praises because he's some great minister and or ministry providing organization, and God bless him. He served in the military, and
Yes. Thank you for your service.
we appreciate the service. And again, he may be a great guy. He may be a great Christian. We're not questioning that side of his character. I'm questioning the non-organic rise out of nowhere for a candidate that I have never seen in my 45 plus years in politics. So,
And that we never heard of before. And that also, I do have to remind us of something, Hugo, because you and I actually saw a candidate like this at our state party elections. That we had someone who was a Navy SEAL or something like that, who ended up taking votes from many conservative people and giving them to Britta Horn, or endorsing Britta Horn afterwards.
mm-hmm.
So this is actually not the first time that many of us who have been either SEC members, bonus members, been in high levels of politics here in the state, we've seen this before. We have literally seen this before. And so if you are offended by our suspicion or caution, I would just say to listen to our wisdom, and we hope that, as we always do, tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Absolutely. So stay tuned. We're going to be digging deeper. We want to give you factual information so that you can make an informed decision. If you're one of these people who are just taken aback by his candidacy and you're just blindly following, then I feel sorry for you, man, because you need to be more aware of what you're supporting and backing. And if you're just parroting people on social media, then shame on you. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm
Especially being upset at people who have been long-term friends or taking this more seriously than it should be taken. There's no reason to be hostile over your support of Victor Marx or any candidate. And I
yeah.
think, remember, your behavior reflects upon your candidate.
And somebody gets on social media and say, "I'm supporting Victor Marx because he's the only one that can win," and then I respond and say, "Why?" And they don't have a response. So come on, people, wake up, smell the coffee, do your due diligence, come back with some factual information, and we can have a discussion.
There we go.
I have no problem, supporting someone. Everybody's got a right to support whomever they want, but don't use reasons like you've given to be the actual evidence for your support, because that's just bad policy, in my opinion. So,
Very much so.
all right. Enough of that. That's our Victor Marx phenomenon piece for this show. We're gonna have more, and I have actually a good friend who said that she would try to get Victor to come on our show.
Wow, look at
Let
that.
me just say this, okay? We welcome anybody onto the show as long as they're respectful. We will not throw softball questions at anybody. We hit hard, we dig for the truth, and we want people to be able to answer questions that the body out there, the population is thinking about. Not everybody gets a chance to meet a candidate directly, but we will pose hard hitting questions. They will be fair, no different than any of the other candidates that we've interviewed, and let the chips fall where they may. But knock off this nonsense that he's the next thing since sliced bread. I don't know. So, all right, on to some fun stuff. We've collected a little video of some funny memes that we want to share with you, and here we go to close out the show.
Always got to have the memes. Oh, these are classic. It's the truth. I hope J.P. Vance goes as after Halloween. Oh.
I'm not afraid. I am not afraid. I won't back down.
Government's closed
There,
on
there.
Democrats need illegals to get their way. Americans no longer will pay. It's a dollar store by mine. It's a dollar store by mine.
He really is.
Por favor. I'm part Spanish. Adios, muchacho.
Meal Team 6.
No thanks.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
He's barking Toros. I loved every single one of those.
That's good.
Oh,
Hope you
my
enjoyed that, folks. I thought that was
Especially
great.
as much as we did.
Yeah. All right. We got time for the word of the day.
Word of the day. Oh,
The
my
word
goodness.
of the day is duress.
The rest. Oh, man.
Duress. What it means is typically used with under, refers to force or threats meant to make someone do something. It is used especially of unlawful coercion by Democrats.
Oh,
So
my
there you
goodness.
go. That's the word of the day. We're out of time, folks. Another great show.
Another great show.
Tune in next week. We have the Convention of States director, and we're going to be talking about the efforts to get a constitutional convention called.
The Constitutional Convention. My goodness. I
You
won't
do
want to
not
miss that.
You do not want to miss that. So good night. Thank you for tuning in, and hasta luego.
Hasta la vista. Adios, folks. God bless America.